while I still had a commanding lead over them, Birmingham New Street at this point in the travels wasn't ideal for me. They were literally 30 miles away from me. And the thing was, the train's average speed was going to be faster than my average speed, even allowing for stops. This wasn't ideal. As mentioned, they were 47 minutes away from me if I was driving there. But the train's average speed was going to be 80 miles an hour, whereas my top speed would be 70. So the lead that I had was going to be narrowing all the time. Also, I was going back on the M5, which had a few roadworks in the area, so there was going to be 50 mile an hour zones. No such problem for the train. Also, while the train had to have more stops than me technically, for different places where people would get on and off, they would be stationary for 5 minutes. Whereas for me, depending on what I was stopping for, I could be stationary for up to 20 minutes. And of course, I wasn't the only one who would need brakes. The dog would need brakes too. Whatever was going to happen from this point on, it was certainly going to be a lot tighter than it seemed when I first set off. Literally at 4:15 in the morning, I had over 2 hours lead. Now, I had around about an hour, if I was lucky. And that was going to get narrowed down further by traffic and other things. Dog's comfort break. You ready, Uncle? Toilet time. Again. We're going again, Oakley. Yes, we are. Won't be long. A slight problem. What was a 5-minute stop? Literally 5 minutes. Whoa. Has turned into an additional 15 minutes on our arrival time. We were now at a stage in the day where any stop around 5 minutes for us was also potentially a catastrophic delay. We still had over 150 miles to go, and our arrival time was getting further and further past 11 o'clock, getting closer and closer to 12 o'clock all the time. And their train was due to arrive at 12:30, so I really couldn't afford any more delays. Except I knew we were going to get them. There were still 50 mile an hour zones ahead of us. There was obviously going to be holiday traffic building up ahead of us. I'd already passed a number of caravans, and there would obviously be more as we got closer and closer to St Austall. Even if they weren't staying at St Austall and going on to Penzance, they would still be going on the same roads as us, which meant potential delays, no matter what we did. And then, of course, there was this. Bristol! We have now passed Bristol in My arrival time was now 11:53. Still 105 miles to go, but I had to now take a break. But it was a good opportunity to have a phone call, find out where everybody was, and see if there were any delays to the trains. Knowing my luck, everything will be running to schedule. Come on, a drink.
Yo.
Hello, where are you?
Hello. Plymouth.
Plymouth?
Plymouth. I think it's Plymouth because the last one was Plymouth something. So I presume this one is Plymouth.
Okay.
Where are you?
Just approaching Exeter. Well, about 50 miles off Exeter.
Okay, I don't know where Exeter is. I guess, yeah.
North of Plymouth.
What did I say? Did I say Plymouth?
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean Plymouth at all. I meant Bristol.
Oh,
I don't know why
okay.
I said Plymouth.
That's alright, we're past Bristol.
No, it's because we were just talking about Plymouth.
Yeah. No,
And I'm tired.
next stop's Exeter. Well, I said the next big one's Exeter. So, yeah. We just passed Bristol about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so we just stopped at the minute.
I'm 10 minutes behind you.
Yeah, getting closer.
Pretty close by 5 minutes.
No, we've stopped actually for a bit, so giving Oakley a drink.
Alright.
You don't need to go. You don't need to go to the toilet.
I've still got 2.5 hours to go on this train.
Yeah, I've still got.
And then 40 minutes on the next one. You what, sorry?
I've still got. Well, it was saying about quarter to 12 to arrive, but it keeps fluctuating between quarter to 12 and 11:30. And it's like,
okay,
make up your
to
mind.
arrive? What, to arrive in St Austall?
Yeah. But
That's not good. That's an hour ahead of me.
But the problem I've got is from
hang on, Evie, look at where my foot is.
The problem I've got is when I leave the motorway, it's all country, it's all narrow roads and caravans by the look of it.
Alright, so will that take your time up? Will it change it then?
Yeah, a lot.
Change as you go? Alright, okay.
So yeah, it's a guide, it's not a absolute.
There is still hope then.
Yeah.
Alright then.
I shall let you get off.
Yeah, take your time on your break and everything.
Oh yeah, will do. See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Closer than I'd like. The last phone call had confirmed my worst fears. The train wasn't being delayed, or at least wasn't being delayed enough to cause any problems. And while I was still technically ahead and had around 40 minutes to play with, as I mentioned on the phone, things were going to get a little more difficult as I went along the motorway. As far as I knew, I still had one area of roadworks to cover, and also things were going to get slower once I got off the main motorway. Things were not quite as clear-cut as they seemed. Western Supermare. Next point of interest, Exeter. well be the problem. That could be where we really lose ground. With less than 110 miles to go and an arrival time still around 10 to 12, the best thing I could hope for is no more delays. The last thing I needed was another set of roadworks. More roadworks. 50 mile an hour average speed camera. Actually sure what it's slowing down for. Apparently it's going to finish in December this year. Doesn't help now though. At last, for me, the M5 was coming to an end. And just as it was coming to an end for me, the roadworks went. But once I hit that junction, things were going to be a little bit different. While the M5 had been reasonably clear all the way down, with only delays caused by roadworks and a little bit of congestion around Bristol, things were now going to be changing. I'd be on A roads, there would be a lot of holiday traffic and residential traffic. Meanwhile, my wife and daughter were now on their last train. The GWR was pretty good. That for me. Still, at least my arrival time was still ahead of theirs. I had less than 50 miles to go, less than an hour's drive according to the sat-nav, and only 40 miles on the A30. But it still was a problem because I was then at the mercy of local traffic, whereas at the moment I was at the mercy of holiday traffic. Sadly though, I wasn't getting these views. Instead, I was getting caravans and traffic overtaking caravans, as well as the road ahead. And while the announcer was announcing train delays, it wasn't to the train I really needed delaying. Still, at least my daughter is going to have a go at presenting.
I know, that's what I meant.
There is I. We're going on the tunnel. I mean the bridge.
I, on the other hand, was concentrating on where I was going. The last thing I needed now was a delay. With the road ahead quite clear now, it seemed that nothing could actually get in my way. The last thing I needed now was something big and slow ahead of me, especially as the train was getting closer and closer to St Austall. And while I had pretty good clear roads and fast moving traffic, the one thing that the train didn't have was slow traffic ahead of it. All it had was one or two stops, and then it was the last one, St Austall. But then I was stuck behind a truck. If he got stuck somewhere, I'd be stuck somewhere. At last, the truck started moving, and the best thing was, he was going straight ahead, I wasn't. But both of us were now closing in on St Austall train station. I didn't know where they were, they didn't know where I was. So the last thing I needed was speed bumps slowing me down. But at least I was moving. As I pulled into St Austall station, I could see that there was no train in, so either they were already here, waiting for me on the concourse, or I was there first and they wouldn't be there. But which was it? Looks like we've beaten them to it. We won.